New to Medicare? Start now. Go to myhealthpolicy.com to learn about some of the top-rated Medicare Advantage plans in your area, including plans for $0 a month in plan premiums, low out-of-pocket costs, and expansive provider networks. If you're thinking about a Medicare Advantage plan, myhealthpolicy.com is a great place to go to find a plan that meets your needs. Learn more about your options. Even talk with a licensed insurance agent. myhealthpolicy.com.
Did you know that a group of fans are planning something awesome for August 10 to 15? That's right, Elvis Week Sessions. It's going to be a week of live performances, trivia, stories, live coverages from Memphis every day, and not to mention, you're going to get the opportunity to interact with other Elvis fans, and it's not going to cost you a penny. We're going to have topics on reading Elvis, Secret Graceland, his movies, maybe some of his songs, live performances. So what exactly are you waiting for? Go to jungleroompodcast.com to get the scoop. And we hope that you're going to make plans to join us August 10 through 15, only on Instagram.
Welcome to The Jungle Room Season 4, brought to you by Sassy Girl Apparel in Horn Lake, Mississippi. And now, here are your hosts, Mike Ford and Jamie King.
Wait a second. You're not Mike Ford.
I'm not, no.
Can you tell our listeners who you are?
Well, my name is Kyle Slingo. I'm a member of the Jungle Room team.
That's right. Now, Kyle has done some amazing work with the Jungle Room podcast and YouTube channel. He has created our website. You have been our social media expert. You handle a lot of the messages that we get coming in. Kyle, honestly, I could not do it without you. You have been such a blessing, and I'm just really happy to have you on our Jungle Room team.
I appreciate that, Jamie. I mean, it's been an amazing ride. Let's just say that.
I'm sure I have gotten on your nerves a little bit, though.
No, not really.
I do have a tendency to panic and get a little frustrated, but I appreciate you so much. And I also appreciate your kindness and your patience with me, because even though we've been doing this podcast for 2 years, there's always room for growth and learning. And I'm still learning. It's a lot of work. And I don't think people realize the work that it takes to do not just a podcast, but a YouTube channel, our groups on social media, having our merch store. We really have a full-time job on top of our other full-time job.
Right, definitely. I mean, it's a labor of love. Let's just put it that way.
It is very much a labor of love, and I enjoy doing it. And I enjoy meeting other Elvis fans and lovers of music. And we've met a lot of great people doing this. Heather Lomax, Ashley Drew, the Spa Guy, the TCB guys. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Billy and Joe Smith,
yes.
Danny and Joey.
Joey Smith.
Dakota.
Yes, Joey Smith. Everyone knows I love Joey Smith. And his son, Dakota, is now a father. He had just had a baby a couple of weeks ago. So that means Billy and Joe Smith are great-grandparents.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. In fact, I just posted something about Dakota on the group today.
Oh, yeah? I haven't been on. Today at work was absolutely insane. So I wasn't on social media that much. What did you post?
He's trying to get back into fighting for September.
Oh, that's right. His dad told me that he's trying to have a fight in September and another one in November. So we'll definitely have Dakota back on to talk about his fights. And again, just a reminder, if you're interested in sponsoring Dakota for his upcoming fights, all you have to do is reach out to his father, Joey Micah Smith, on Facebook. Just send him a message, or you can send it to the Jungle Room Facebook page, and we will make sure we get it to Joey and Dakota.
Not to mention, too, Joey loves our podcast. He actually sent a bunch of people our way the other days.
Yeah, Joey has been a great supporter of the Jungle Room podcast. He's been a great friend to me. He's been my mentor. I can't say anything other than wonderful things about Joey. He's like my brother. He gives me a hard time. He does like to make fun of me on occasion, but I know if I need him, he's always there. So, and it's good to have people like that in your life.
Definitely. Agree 100%.
Kyle, tell us what's been going on in your world this past week.
This week was crazy. I mean, Tuesday we lost power at the store. So we had a huge hurricane that came through. We lost power. Wednesday, I didn't go to work at all, so I stayed home. And then yesterday, it was literally nonstop at work, just door swing after door swing.
Yeah.
For anybody that doesn't know, I do work at Verizon. So, and when the cell phone towers go down, they all come to me.
Oh, I don't know how you do it, but there must be something going on in the universe, because my work was crazy all week. And I know a lot of people have said the same thing. I don't know. Is it a full moon? Do you know?
I don't know. I mean, looking outside right now, I don't even see the moon.
No, the sun is shining over here in Alaska. So.
I got darkness.
Oh, you do?
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Well, Kyle, you and we're both kind of wallowing in self-pity a little bit, because next week we were going to be in Tennessee for Elvis Week. We were going to be having the time of our lives, John Daly's event, visiting Graceland. I mean, we were going to have so much fun, but unfortunately, due to the pandemic and everything going on, it just isn't feasible for us. There is another alternative to Elvis Week.
I do know about it. It's called the Elvis Week Sessions.
Why don't you tell our listeners how they can experience Elvis Week virtually?
So everybody needs to go to Instagram and follow Jungle Room Podcast. If you look in the feed, you will see a post that is yellow that has a bunch of dates on it. So August 10 through 15, there's 9 different accounts that are going to be doing a bunch of stuff virtually. So we're going to be talking to, for example, one day is going to be Ashley Drew talking about Secret Graceland. Our own Jamie Kay is going to be doing a panel on Elvis books. And we're going to have people that are in Memphis giving us Memphis updates. It's really going to be a lot of fun.
Right. And Heather Lomatz and Merle Jagger are also performing. So Monday, August 10th, 7 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Alaska Time, 9 p.m. East Coast Time. I kind of did that in a weird way. I will start it off with the session Reading Elvis on our Jungle Room Instagram account, and it's at Jungle Room Podcast. And right after that is over, you head on over to Heather Lomatz's Instagram, and Heather Lomatz and Merle Jagger will be performing. And you guys have heard their music here on our podcast. So make sure you send them some love. And our good friend Ashley Drew, she's got her session, and there's going to be trivia, Kyle. So there's going to be prizes.
Wow.
Yes, I think
Prizes.
There's like 2 or 3 of the sessions are trivia. I know I'm doing a trivia, I think the last session.
It's Saturday, yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be a busy week. I've only taken Monday and Tuesday off. So it's going to be interesting how I juggle this because of the time difference. But you know, I have faith. It's about Elvis, so you know it's going to work itself out.
Right, definitely, 100%.
Right. Kyle, the Facebook group page for the Jungle Room Podcast, you are our main person who really controls it, I have to say, because you always have great posts. Can you tell our listeners why they should be a member of our Jungle Room Facebook group?
Well, honestly, they should be a member because they love Elvis. That should be the number one. Well, actually, not just Elvis. We're starting to go into the realm of Johnny Cash and Jerry Lee Lewis and Roy Orbison. If you love any of those people, you should definitely be a member of our group because we got people posting that stuff all day long. Shout out to Ian Cook.
Ian Cook, yes. Ian Cook, he has some really great posts and some great information. We've invited him on the show, so hopefully he will take us up on it because I would love to have an in-depth conversation with him.
His posts are insane sometimes.
Good insanity.
Yeah.
Now, most of you guys are probably wondering where Mike Ford is this week. Mike Ford's wife is under the weather. She had surgery today. So we want to make sure we wish his beautiful wife, Jen, a speedy recovery and also give good healing vibes to her and give a shout out to Mike Ford.
We miss you, Mike.
Yes, we do. We do miss Mike. Now, Kyle, we're going to have a discussion. And the topic of this week's episode is about Elvis's generosity. And also, I'm posing the question, was Elvis Presley a self-sabotager? Did he do things to disrupt his life and cause chaos? Did he find himself not deserving of happiness? And we're going to go into detail about that. Last week I had Johnny Sanchez and Elias in the Jungle Room studio, and we brought up the subject of Elvis's generosity. And I think it was Johnny who said Elvis had always been generous. He was giving away toys to kids that didn't have toys, even though he didn't have much. He always had the spirit of giving, even at an early age before fame and fortune hit. With all of Elvis Presley's flaws, that really shows you his core. His core was someone who was giving and loving.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he was always giving from a young age. From what I've read, he's just like me, you know, kind of like a giving heart.
Yeah.
Doesn't expect anything in the return.
Right. But, you know, some of the books I've read, Elvis Presley, even though he was by all accounts generous, he did not like to be asked for things. He did not like for people to assume he was going to give them anything.
Yeah, definitely. There was I believe a story was told about him at a car dealership, and somebody asked him for a car, and he gave him a look like, really?
Well, on the Memphis Mafia Kid channel, and this story was also told in Alana Nash's book. He was at the movie theater, you know how he would close down the theater and his whole group was there. And one of the concession girls, the mother, was there. And she went in on Elvis, telling Elvis that her daughter hadn't got paid. And he looked over to Al Strada and asked Al Strada if the girl had got paid. And they all said, you know, hey, everybody was paid. And the mother of this young girl just, like, I think she humiliated him by making fun of his outfit. She, you know, basically bullying him to buy her daughter a car, and wasn't very nice about it. And Elvis, from what Billy Smith and his son Danny said, was polite to her and said, you know, I'm sorry you feel that way. When they got back in the vehicle, he just started crying. His feelings were hurt so bad, and it really tore him up. And then he was like, you know what? Make sure you buy her a car, have it sent over. And Billy was like, no, we're not doing that. And I think Linda Thompson and Joe Smith was in the vehicle too. And they were like, Elvis, no, that woman was disrespectful. She was the sense of entitlement. We're not doing that. It shows you the fact that he cried. Like, I think people forget how human he was.
Right. They expect him to be like the normal celebrity and not care about other people. But he was somebody that can't be replaced. You know what I mean?
Right. What do you think his generosity stems from?
I personally think it came from his mom, to be honest with you. How to word this? He just loved to give. He grew up with very little, and he wanted to make sure that everybody else was taken care of before himself.
Right.
Like, look at how many people lived at Graceland.
I know, right? He had it on his shoulders that he had to take care of everybody. In a sense, he did. He took care of a lot of people. There were a lot of people on his payroll. Not just that, he had a lot of friends and family. And, you know, if you think of it in that perspective, the magnitude and burden that was weighing on his shoulders, I honestly can see why he started doing drugs as an escape. Because the pressures were so intense.
Right.
Look, Elvis Presley died, and look how many livelihoods suffered because of his death.
Right. I think he started taking drugs because he was stressed.
He needed an escape.
100%.
As Elvis got older, we know that Elvis's generosity was heartfelt. We know that it came from a place of good. But I wonder, as he got older, got more fame, got more money, and the magnitude of gifts and money that he would give people, I have to wonder if some of that generosity was done because he did not feel deserving of life had handed him. He was now Elvis Presley, a rock and roll icon who had all this money. And it was almost like the more money he made, the more money he spent.
Right, exactly.
What do you think that was about?
I think that because he was bringing in the money, he just didn't want to keep it. He was probably afraid of losing it, to be honest with you.
So you felt like because he was afraid of losing it, he thought, well, I will lose it on my terms?
Right. Like, he bought whatever he wanted.
Yeah, he did. And he would buy things in bulk. Like whenever he had found a new hobby, he just didn't buy something for himself. He had to buy it for everyone. So going back to, 1966, 1967, when he got into riding horses and he bought Circle G.
Just going to bring that up. Yep.
Yeah. He didn't just, he started with just buying Priscilla a horse. And then he started riding the horse and he got his own horse. Then all the guys had horses, but they couldn't just stop with horses. They had to have trucks and tractors. Soon, Graceland became a horse ranch. And
not to mention all the stuff that goes along with the horses, all the saddles, all the ranching equipment.
Yes. And then they buy Circle G, which, they didn't stay in Circle G very long. Wasn't it like a year?
9 months or
9 months, less than a year. And the goal was Elvis was wanting to, make I don't want to say commune, but he was going to have houses built for all the guys and they were going to have their own little, subdivision, if you will. And the city wouldn't allow the permit. So that's when Elvis bought those mobile homes, those trailers, and lined them up. And who did he give his house to on Circle G? Because Priscilla and him, they actually moved into one of the trailers.
Right. They spent their honeymoon in a trailer.
Who did he give the house to? Was it Jerry Schilling? Who? He gave the house to someone to live in.
It had to have been one of the Memphis Mafia.
Yeah, it was one of the guys. I'm sure one of our listeners will know. And I'm sure as soon as we're done recording, I will remember. And I always find that fascinating. Elvis Presley in a trailer, but he loved it. And Priscilla wrote in her book, Elvis and Me, that was probably the closest she ever felt to Elvis. And she was able to take care of him, cook his meals, do the laundry. She could be a little housewife in the trailer because they didn't have all the servants and everything around. They were basically doing what we all do in middle America. I found that their time at Circle G seemed to be what made them the most happy.
Right, definitely. I mean, if you've ever been to Circle G, and I have not, but I've only seen pictures, it looks like it's a very peaceful, very quiet area, especially with that huge cross too.
Right.
Like Elvis was a very spiritual man.
Yes.
So knowing him, the minute he saw that cross, that's why he wanted it.
Well, that is what I have read in most of the books, was that the cross, he took it as a sign.
Right, exactly. Cross the bridge. It's just a very peaceful, quiet place, a place to get away from Memphis. There wasn't a lot of fans screaming for him.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention that it's wide open too.
So let's talk some more about Elvis being a self-sabotager. Now I'm going to read some things to you, Kyle, and let me know if this sounds like Elvis Presley. Blaming others when things go wrong.
That doesn't sound like Elvis Presley.
The shooting up the TVs. He shot up cars.
He shot up a swing set.
Yes. Everything was never Elvis Presley's fault. And his best defense was offense. When Priscilla or Linda or push him to a corner, ask about the other women, he would turn it around. Well, if you don't like it, you leave. Or he would blow up and get mad and have them apologizing. But I also at the same time do see where Elvis took a lot on himself and felt responsible for everyone. So maybe his bad temper and that. So maybe we'll let that pass. Blaming others when things go wrong.
Maybe that's how he de-stressed too.
Right.
By just blowing up,
All right. Here's another one. Choosing to walk away when things don't go smoothly. I'm going to say.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah. Procrastination.
I'd say yes.
Yes.
That's not just Elvis. That's everybody.
Right. I know. Picking fights with friends or partners.
Yes.
Dating people who aren't right for you.
Yes.
Trouble stating your needs. Yes.
Yeah.
I remember reading in the Memphis Mafia book by Alana Nash, the guys were talking how Elvis very rarely really confided in them in the sense where he didn't tell them really what was bothering him. He never really got deep. It was almost like he didn't feel like he could burden anyone with his stuff. But at the same time, he would let out what was going on in unhealthy ways, like shooting up the TV. Or there's this one story, one of the guys forgot to get gas on the bus, or he was planning on getting gas on the way, but Elvis wanted to drive, noticed that the gas tank was low, so he purposely drove the bus. I think it was Lamar Fike. He purposely drove the bus until it ran out of gas and then had Lamar Fike walk to the gas station to get the gas. And Lamar had a hitchhike to get the gas. He would do things like that.
Some of those stories are crazy.
I know. Putting yourself down. Maybe internally. I don't think he really came out and
I don't know that he came out with like a depression disorder or a bipolar disorder, but it's possible that he did suffer from clinical depression. We just don't know.
Right. Fear of failure.
That's
yes. Yeah. And that's I think a lot of people are like this. But
I suffer from that daily. This
is the big one. A need for control over not just your life, but others' lives as well.
Definitely 100%. He, in my opinion, he controlled Priscilla. He controlled everybody in that house.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And
the minute you walk through the door, he told you where to go. He told you what to do.
You know, the way that Elvis came into fame wasn't something he had strived for. He didn't grow up thinking he was going to be a musician. He didn't have any, he may have had daydreams of being rich and famous. I mean, I think as we're growing up, we all have, those fantasies, but I don't think he really believed it. This wasn't a goal he was working towards.
Right.
Happened so fast. And it happened to him at a very young age. He was very young, in his early 20s, like 19, 20 years old?
I think so, yeah, when he went into Sam Phillips.
Yeah. I sometimes wonder if there was an emotional maturity that stopped at that age, which would explain a lot of the, quote, temper tantrums that he would have later on. He never really learned how to deal with confrontation, which proof of that was with the firing of Dave Hebler, Sonny West, and Red West. He didn't have much of a confront towards people, and he didn't want to be confronted as well. He did not like confrontation.
Yeah, I mean, he would just literally just shun you, basically. If he didn't want to talk to you, you didn't talk to him. He would ignore you. That cell phones didn't exist back then.
I know, right? Elvis felt guilt. Elvis had a tremendous heart, and he wasn't a cold-hearted person. So he had feelings of guilt. But sometimes with those feelings of guilt, he would cut individuals off just so he couldn't face that guilt.
Yeah, going back to the generosity too. Let's say that he bought you a car, right? Mm-hmm. If you did something to upset him, he would take that car away.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Simple as that.
Well, he also did regifting. I think
this is true too.
I think he had one of the guys didn't have a truck when they were at Circle G, and he gave them Priscilla's truck. He would regift. I mean, he would take a gift from you and give it to someone else. I mean, the way he would do it, he would explain the reasons why, but
he wouldn't just leave you empty either. He would replace it with a better gift for you though too.
Right.
So like he would take your car and give it to, let's say, Billy, but then give Dick Grobe a better car. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Let's go back to Elvis's generosity for a second.
Yeah. So did you all know that Elvis gave away a yacht or a boat to St. Jude for them to raffle off?
I don't really know the story very well. Do you know the story?
Yeah, I've got it up here. I'm going to read it.
Oh, okay, cool.
It says, the afternoon of February 14th, 1964, Elvis Presley performed one of the more publicized of his many charitable acts during his career. On that sunny Valentine's Day in Long Beach, California, he deeded over the Potomac, President Franklin Roosevelt's personal yacht, to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. So this was a prearranged public event. He was swarmed by fans who'd been forewarned of his coming by the press. Major newspapers and photographers to cover the event. And then that day was the only time Elvis ever saw the historic vessel that he owned for just 2 weeks. On January 30th, 1964, Colonel Parker purchased the Potomac at auction in Elvis's name for $55,000.
Oh, wow.
His initial plan was to donate the historic ship to the March of Dimes Foundation, long one of Elvis's favorite charities. But the foundation told the Memphis Commercial Appeal it declined the donation because they did not think it proper to spend donated funds to maintain such a gift. Parker then offered the Potomac to a Miami Coast Guard auxiliary unit. Again, though, the gift was not accepted. The Miami group wanted to accept the yacht, sell it for scrap, and use the money to build a clubhouse. This would be arranging pretty far from water safety and other purposes of an auxiliary unit, so permission to accept the gift was refused. Why would you, that is just upsetting to me. Why would you not accept a gift?
I don't understand that either. Was there any reasons given?
In this article, no. It just says that it wouldn't meet their needs.
I feel like there's a video on YouTube on this subject. Did the spa guy do a video on this? Do you remember? Or was it Ashley?
To be honest with you.
I feel like
might have been Ashley.
Yeah, I want to know why they wouldn't accept it. Was it because it was Elvis Presley?
You know, that's a good topic. Like, what Elvis, I don't know why they would refuse it.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. We got to figure this out.
So it says on here that Parker continued looking for a charity that would like to take it off its hands where it was in Long Beach. He offered it then to the new Children's Hospital in Memphis. And no doubt, to Colonel Parker's great relief, St. Jude took possession of this troublesome yacht. How much did they get for it? That's the million-dollar question. It says on February 14th, Elvis was in Las Vegas at the time vacationing. Elvis and a few of his sidekicks drove to Long Beach that morning to be there to present the boat to St. Jude. It was basically to put Elvis back in the news because the Beatles had just been on the Ed Sullivan Show 5 days ago.
That's right, because in the article it said it was a prearranged event. So this was more the Colonel doing this for publicity.
Basically, yes. But I mean, it still was a great thing to give a yacht to St. Jude.
Oh, no, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you at all.
I wonder where that yacht is today.
That's something that we need to ask Ashley Drew, because we know she is the detective in our little community, and she can find out anything. That girl just has a talent.
Going back to his generosity in St. Jude, I mean, he was one of the ones that would write out random checks. And you can see those checks at Graceland.
You know what's so sad about it all, especially with Elvis's life and how he died, was, you know, Elvis really did want to make sure that the people who worked for him and family, he really wanted to make sure that they were taken care of. And it's always been so sad to me that the will that it's said to have had all the guys in it and others was not the will that was used. And it makes me wonder a lot about Vernon, and if Vernon made sure that it would never come to light, because if I remember correctly, Billy Smith had a handwritten will at one point that Elvis had him keep. You know what? I can understand Vernon with not wanting to have all the guys, you know, he felt like the guys were taking advantage of him. But we have to remember that Billy Smith was Elvis's first cousin on his mom's side. And they were really close. They were like brothers. And we've talked about this so many times on our podcast and on the YouTube channel about how the narrative got changed. It was Billy Smith who was the closest to Elvis, who was his confidant and right-hand man, and then got switched to Joe Esposito. And it's interesting. And you can tell, like, if you just read the books and watch some of the YouTube videos that the guys give interviews, there was definitely cliques. There was Joe Esposito and his wife, Joni, Priscilla, and Elvis. And Joe had the Colonel's ear. Joe was definitely telling the Colonel things that Elvis probably didn't want the Colonel to know.
Right.
They aligned themselves correctly in the sense that, look, you know what happened. And then you have Marty Lacker, Billy Smith, Lamar Fike. They were eliminated almost from Elvis history. And I understand Elvis fans being angry with some of the things that they have said and written about. But what kills me about that is it seems like there's so much hypocrisy. I believe everyone should be able to tell their story from their perspective, and then we can discern what's true or not. I don't like it when people get so angry and they want to diminish one person's role because it doesn't fit their narrative. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I get angry when I see people fighting over this stuff online. Like, you weren't there. You don't know what happened. Why are you, like, getting in it? Like, just accept it and move on. I
totally agree with you. That is one thing. I know we've talked about it so many times, but it just baffles me.
It grinds your gears.
More with the women. I don't get that. If you say you like Priscilla, then that means you hate Ginger. And if you say you like Ginger, that means you hate Priscilla. And if you say you like Linda, that means you hate them all. And how dare you? And people get really ugly. That's why we have a rule on the Jungle Room Facebook group, not talking about the women, because it never fails. You can talk about the women on our group page, but you cannot say anything negative about any of them. I'm going to bring something up for just a second, Kyle, with you. I'm going to use you as an example. You bought some books from John Daly and you were very excited about it. You posted it on our group and our group page, and you posted it on a couple of the groups, right? It wasn't just ours.
Yeah, Graceland Insiders too, I believe.
Yeah. You got attacked.
Yeah, it was not a fun day.
That is wrong. Elvis fans, if you're listening to this podcast, you got to stop. It's ridiculous, especially with these new Elvis fans coming in and they are excited and they want to learn. Let them have their journey. We all did. We all got to read things at my age, and Elvis fans who are my friends, we came up when there was no social media. So we would show a book to someone and they'd be like, oh, cool. Let me know how it is after you read it. You know, nowadays we have social media and people show their excitement by posting what they're learning and what they're reading. And you can give your opinion or you can offer guidance without being nasty. And that is what I do not like, is when people are nasty and mean. It's not nice. Just how hard is it to be kind? And I tell you what, some of these people on social media that are like this, I don't think Elvis Presley would appreciate that.
I wonder too how they are in real life.
Well, it's easy to hide behind a computer.
Yeah, exactly.
I just think it's to be kind. And, I think about that situation with you, Kyle, a lot. And it hurt my heart. It upset John. It's not, and I've seen it done to others. It's been done to me. There's no reason for it. I understand the passion. I understand the passion and the frustration when there have been lies told, stories have been changed, people who only knew Elvis for a month, and then all of a sudden, it's a 5-year span. I mean, I get it. I understand that there's frustration in that. But at the same time, again, it goes back to everyone has a right to share their story the way they want to share it. It is up to us to use discernment, and we can do that, and we don't have to be nasty. There is enough nastiness in the world today. We don't need to bring it into the social media groups, especially the groups that we've created to talk about this man, Elvis Presley.
Agree 100%.
All right, Kyle, I think it's time to take a little break, and when we come back, we'll have more discussion.
Got a job that keeps on telling me everything
That was Any Day by Heather Lomax. Find more music by Heather Lomax by visiting heatherlomaxmusic.com. Welcome to the Jungle Room podcast. I am with Kyle Slingo, Jungle Room podcast and YouTube channel team member. And we're talking about Elvis's generosity and Elvis's self-sabotaging ways. And we're going to go into the last few months of Elvis's life. Now, we all know that he was with Ginger Alden. He met her in November 1976. And based on Ginger Alden's book, Elvis was not this heavily obese and depressed man that has been pretty much said as fact. I've seen some pictures of Elvis in 1977 when they were vacationing in Hawaii. And he looked to me, he does not like a very obese man. He looks like a 42-year-old man.
Right.
And they go on this vacation to Hawaii, and Elvis seemed to have been in good spirits. He did get some sand in his eye that really bothered him, and they cut the trips short. But you can look at the pictures of this trip to Hawaii, and he looks happy.
He looks content. Yeah. Agree 100%. I believe was Billy was on that trip, right?
Right. Yes. Billy Smith, Joe Esposito, his girlfriend at the time, Shirley Dew, Ginger, her sister Rosemary, and I think also Terry. Dr. Nick was there. I mean, there was a lot of people. I mean, he brought a lot of people to that trip.
Think about how much money that cost.
I know, right?
Talking about generosity.
But Hawaii was his favorite vacation spot, which I can totally understand that.
Yeah, Hawaii is beautiful.
Larry Geller, I think Larry Geller was on that trip too. So he meets Ginger, they fall in love. He proposes to her. Ironically, he proposes to Ginger the same way he proposed to Priscilla, in the bathroom. And we say bathroom, but his bathroom was almost like another living,
a luxury resort.
Yeah. So he had a couch in there. He had a hairdresser chair. I mean, it wasn't just a toilet, sink, and shower.
Right. It was gold. It was, yeah.
Whether or not you want to believe they were going to get married, it's all up to speculation. But, I do believe that he proposed to her. He gave her a ring. So he did have things to look forward to. And let's not forget, Elvis Presley was a parent. And when you're a parent and you have a child, you look to the future very positively because you're raising this human being. So I believe that maybe he had a sixth sense that he would die. I don't know if that's true, but I've heard people say that. But let's say he did. But I don't think he was living the life of a dying man. Does that make sense?
I don't think so either. I mean, he had his routines that I'm sure I don't know that we're going to get into, but he definitely didn't seem like the dying man. He was going to die anytime soon.
Right. I mean, if you think that you're dying, you wouldn't go on, set up a tour, or
you wouldn't go to the dentist the night before.
Right. Yeah. Going to the dentist. That's something.
Playing racquetball at 2 a.m. or whatever time it was.
And it seems like from Billy Smith's account, they played a pretty good game. Cutting up and fooling around. When you see the CBS special, and if you go to our YouTube channel and we have a video up where I interviewed Ian McKay, who was actually on the CBS special in the audience, and he also attended Elvis Presley's very last concert. And he talks about the difference between the CBS special and his last concert. And, I really find it sad that CBS special aired because of all the makeup they had on his face. And Ginger wrote about it in her book that, that was not what he really looked like. But that's the image right. And that's the image we all have because of that CBS special. There's a picture of Elvis driving through the Great Gates that night after Elvis, Ginger, her niece, and Lisa Marie, they rented Liberty Land, right? And there's a picture of them coming back. I don't know if they were coming back from Liberty Land or the dentist, But Lisa was sitting on Ginger's lap and they're coming through the gates and it's the last picture taken of Elvis and he's kind of waving. He looks good.
That's in the studs.
Yeah, in the studs. He looks good to me.
Yeah, I mean, nobody could have saw this coming. That's the thing.
I wonder if he had lived, if he would have stopped that CBS special, because he would have had to watch it and he would have had to approve it. Don't you think?
Definitely. I know that he definitely watched the 68 comeback special, so he would definitely want to approve that 77 special because his image was everything to him.
Yeah. And that was not the jumpsuits. I mean, he had just outgrown the jumpsuits. I'm not talking about in weight. It was kind of.
It was time for a new look anyway.
Right. It was time to evolve. Now we were talking about
rebrand.
Right. We were talking about Elvis being a self-sabotager, and I'm looking through some of the books of his last year to 9 months that he was alive. In Ginger Alden's book, this is what Ginger Alden said, and this is towards the end here. Elvis had mentioned needing to lose some weight before this upcoming tour, and I was pleased to see that. For the first time, he was showing more awareness of his diet. On August 15th, he began having only small amounts of yogurt and drinking a lot of water. That's one thing right there, right? So he's watching what he's eating, and he tended to do that before he went on tour. He tended to cut back and start paying attention. But if you were someone who believed that you were going to die or thought about suicide, because that's been a rumor, right? And you wouldn't be caring about your diet. I wouldn't.
No, you would do whatever you wanted when you wanted.
Mm-hmm. He set up an appointment with Dr. Hoffman, which was the dentist, Billy Smith, along with Charlie, and they left Graceland in the Stutz around 10:30 p.m.
And they got back around, I think, midnight.
Right. They returned to Graceland around 12:30 a.m. So that must have been, it doesn't say if Lisa was there. We're going to figure out what time that picture was taken, but it was the last picture of Elvis. It's so bizarre. The timing of how he died, everything just... I never knew Elvis Presley. I mean, I was 8 months old when Elvis died. I've always had a connection to Elvis Presley, and I've told the story when I was little growing up. He was my imaginary friend, and he's such an enigma. As much as many of the books that have been written about him and the interviews, he still is an enigma to me. He's a walking contradiction. He just baffles me. You have, again, the generous Elvis, you have the self-sabotaging Elvis, you have the kind Elvis, you have the hot-tempered Elvis. Now, we can say that some of his temperament could be the drugs, but
the stress.
However, I do think that had Elvis lived, he was planning to let a lot of people go. I think he was ready for a change. I think something had to give. And unfortunately, he died before he could get a chance to make those changes in his life. And I know that from what the guys have said, and even the women, he was very worried about how his fans were going to react to him on this upcoming tour because of the book, Elvis, What Happened? Unfortunately, Elvis underestimated his fans.
Right.
And that's really sad. I think that's another tragedy in the whole Elvis Presley story, is he didn't realize that his fans had unconditional love for him.
And would stick by his side no matter what.
Do you think, had Elvis lived, do you think Elvis and the guys that wrote the book, Elvis, What Happened, Red West, Sonny West, and Dave Hebler, do you think that they would have made amends?
I think eventually they would have. Yes, definitely. Because, I mean, Elvis seems like I don't know if he seems like the type, but he, from what I can tell, I mean, I don't think he would have held the grudge.
Well, he could hold grudges, but I think there were certain people, he had known Red for
years,
so long. Yeah, I mean, they grew up together. Red was like family. And I think when Red's feelings were hurt, Red and Elvis were quite similar in their temperaments. And Red would react in anger rather than in tears. You know what I'm saying? And
reminds me of me.
Yeah. And so when I think of with Elvis self-sabotaging, I think I go back to, I don't feel like Elvis Presley felt like he deserved everything that he accomplished. And that's the thing. Elvis wasn't given anything. Elvis worked to be where he was. He had the talent. Nothing was given to him. And so that's where I struggle with, why did he feel like he wasn't deserving? Where did that come from?
I think the fact that he grew up in a in a very poor neighborhood, and that he didn't have much. That's where that came from. He wasn't used to having anything. So when things just started magically appearing, money started coming in, he's like, what do I do with it?
Right. And also, I wonder if it didn't matter as much to him after his mom passed away.
That could be another factor too.
It's hard to believe that it's coming up August 16th. Elvis has been dead for 43 years.
Longer than he was alive.
Yeah. And yet Elvis has been dead for 43 years come August 16th. However, he's bigger than ever.
I was going to say that, yeah. I think he's more popular now than he was in the 70s.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. And it's interesting because it's not the same Elvis fans from the 1950s or the 60s or the 70s. You have a whole new generation of fans. You have children. You have teenagers, young adults. Kyle, you're very young. I mean, it's what brought you to want to know Elvis? What made you a fan?
I was at the library and I happened to see this CD, Elvis Presley. So I checked it out, put it in my computer, ripped it to my iPod at the time, and started listening. And I was like, whoa, this is some good music. I legit just started listening to music, started collecting his songs, and that's how my love for Elvis started.
And how old were you?
I want to say 14, 15.
Now, did you share your newfound love for Elvis and his music with your friends at school?
No.
No?
Didn't have very many, to be honest with you.
Oh, Kyle. What do you think it was that led you to him? Do you think it was just his music at first?
Definitely at first, yeah. And then just doing research on his life and finding new stuff out every day about him.
What has surprised you the most of what you've learned about Elvis Presley?
Honestly, definitely his generosity.
Yeah. I want to end this on a high note. I do believe that Elvis was a bit of a self-sabotager. He sabotaged relationships, not just with the women, but with the guys. However, I do believe that his generosity was from the heart. I do believe that he wanted people to be as successful as he was. I think he did really want to share his wealth. And I think he felt that burden to take care of people. And he would often ask the question, why me? And to that, why not you?
He even recorded a song about it called Why Me, Lord.
Right. Yeah, that is true. Well, Kyle, this wraps up another episode of the Jungle Room podcast. But before we leave, you have a few announcements. And since you are the king of announcements, take it away.
All right. Announcement number 1. Did you know that the Jungle Room podcast has a YouTube channel? So basically, we're on a mission to get to 1,000 YouTube subscribers. I believe we are at 430 last I checked.
Oh, wait. No. We have more. Hold on. Yes.
We've gotten more?
We have 479.
So we're at 479. So that means that every one of you needs to go subscribe that's listening right now if you're not already subscribed.
Yes. And we have some great videos up. My Julian Grant interview, I was going to put it on this podcast, but we did it on Zoom, the interview, and it's a better YouTube video than it is a podcast because he actually shows some of the things that he owns. It's a great video. It's going to be up Saturday, August 8th. So make sure you check that out. I have a video on Selena, the Latin singer that was murdered by her fan club president in 1994. That's coming up. I also have another Elvis Presley video. It's going to be about Elvis Presley and Sybil Shepherd.
Ooh, that sounds exciting.
So you want to subscribe. And we really want to get to 1,000 subscribers. And how you subscribe is youtube.com/The Jungle Room.
youtube.com/The Jungle Room. Just repeating it. All right, announcement number 2, Jungle Room Podcast website. So if you go to jungleroompodcast.com, you can see all our past episodes. You can see bios on Mike Ford and Jamie Kay. You can see our merch store and get your Jungle Room t-shirts. Everybody wants a Jungle Room t-shirt, right?
Exactly. I think so.
Everybody needs to have one. If you're a Jungle Room fan, you need to have a Jungle Room t-shirt. So don't forget to check out jungleroompodcast.com.
And for all the winners and individuals who have bought t-shirts, if you could take a picture of yourself with the Jungle Room t-shirt and post it on any of our social media, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, and tag tag us and use the hashtag the Jungle Room Podcast.
Yeah. I can't wait to see all those people dressed up in our shirts. And last but not least, we are excited to announce that Jungle Room Podcast has a partnership with Audible. Did you know that?
I did know that. And we've had a lot of questions on that. So we have a partnership with Audible. Tell us about it, because a lot of people are confused about it.
So if you go to the Jungle Room Podcast website, there's a little ad on the right-hand side about halfway down that says, get a free audiobook. You click that link, you sign up for Audible. Audible is going to give you one free audiobook. You don't have to keep the trial or anything. It's a trial. So basically, you get one free audiobook courtesy of our partnership with Audible. So whether that's Ginger Alden's book or another Elvis Presley book or even Vivian Cash's book, we want to give you the opportunity to get a book on Audible's dime, basically.
Awesome. Yes. I mean, it's great. I love Audible. So I'm an avid reader, and sometimes when I'm reading a book and I don't want to stop, but I have to go be an adult and work, I get it on Audible too, so I can continue to listen to it. Now, I'm more of a reader, but if I really can't wait to finish a book, I will throughout the day listen to it on Audible. It's great. It's great for long drives. It's great for when you're cleaning the house, working out. Love it.
Or if you need to fall asleep.
Well, that's what ASMR is for. Just kidding. That's an Ashley Drew in my joke. Oh my gosh. Before we go, this is something fun. Now, I'm totally stealing this from the Life and Laughs podcast. If you heard that episode from last week, definitely check it out. It is hilarious. Those guys are just phenomenal. And you want to check out their podcast. It's Life and Laughs podcast. You can hear it on any platform that you listen to podcasts. But one of the things that they do on their show is things Elvis may say in 2020. Have you listened to their show? Have you heard that?
Yes, I have actually. I listened to the one with Tish last week.
Okay. I think we should play that. I think I want to play it right now. So if Elvis Presley was to come in 2020, what do you think he would say?
He would say, what is this coronavirus and why am I wearing a mask?
Yeah.
I had to go there, I know.
I for some reason I'm thinking about TikTok, and I was thinking about this earlier today of Elvis, trying to explain TikTok to Elvis Presley, and all I could think of was really bad words, that I can't say on here. But think TikTok and what rhymes with it, and I could just see Elvis Presley be, saying that. There was a question brought up on the group. I had a dream that I had COVID-19, and in my dream,
I saw that.
I texted Elvis Presley in my dream. I texted him, and Elvis Presley did text me back in my dream, and he said that he had Vegas throat, which was much worse. And I'm like, I didn't realize Elvis Presley in my dreams was such a jerk. And I posted it on Facebook, and people came out, and the question was raised, would Elvis Presley text? Now, I don't believe Elvis Presley would be a texter. I think he would have other people texting for him.
No, you're wrong.
I don't think he would text. My dad is 71 and my dad doesn't text. I just don't think Elvis Presley would be a texter. I think he would receive them, but I don't think he would reply back in a text.
You got to remember, though, he was very into technology. He had the first cell phone.
Yeah.
One of those briefcases. Yeah. I think 100% he would definitely be a texter.
Yeah.
Whether or not it would make sense, that's a whole nother ballgame. But I think he would either use the voice text.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Or he would just type and send and don't bother to proofread it.
Right. What do you think about Elvis and social media? Do you think he would be active on social media?
That's a tough one, because he did like his privacy.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know about that, but I think that he would definitely be texting and FaceTiming with his grandkids.
Oh, most definitely. I think he would have like his social media pages that, all celebrities have, but I don't think he would be the one managing it.
Right. He'd have people doing it for
him from a lot of negativity. Elvis didn't read bad reviews. They shielded him from that. And that's what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen who are on these Facebook groups who get really mean with each other. Remember that is not what Elvis Presley would do. He would not want that. He would not want people being mean to or talking bad about the women he loved or the friends that he had just because you don't like it. Remember that they were in Elvis's life because he wanted them to be.
Agreed 100%.
All right. Thank you so much, Kyle, for being in the Jungle Room with me and doing this episode. This was fun. Did you like it?
I did. I enjoyed it a lot. And actually, I do have a challenge for our listeners, if you don't mind.
Oh, go ahead.
I do want to encourage everybody to go do something generous. Take some time, go find somebody and just go do something generous and post about it in our Facebook group.
I like it.
That's the challenge for this week.
All right, Kyle. Well, this wraps it up. I am Jamie Kay with the Jungle Room Podcast, brought to you by Sassy Girl Apparel in Horn Lake, Mississippi.
And I'm Kyle Slingo.
Until next time.
Bye, guys.
I'm Joey Smith. This is the first time I've ever listened to Hey, everybody, this is Joey Smith, and I listen to the Jungle Room podcast, and Jamie Kay is awesome. You should check her out.
Check her out. That sounds like my Tinder profile, like a year
Oh,
ago.
Lord. Y'all come back now, you hear?
Big Mac, Chicken McNuggets, no, Big Mac and Quarter Pounder with cheese, or Filet-O-Fish. You'd be doing the same thing if you were at McDonald's, because you can choose not just one, but two of your favorites for just $6. Tasty Big Mac, crispy 10-piece Chicken McNuggets, juicy Quarter Pounder with cheese, or savory Filet-O-Fish. Enjoy two of your all-time favorites for just $6, if you can decide on the two. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.